What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Streckbine, joined always by my main man, Jacob Punturi. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talkers. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. The Pittsburgh Steelers, we are less than a week away from the beginning of training camp. Times are exciting. Things are getting crazy. Football is right around the corner, and we got a positive update from TJ Watt that I think gets people excited. We're diving into that, a sudden retirement from a former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver, and a trade package that has been created that may swap one wide receiver for another for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a good one here in the good old town of Jessup, Pennsylvania. I am fresh off the Creed. I got scars and scratches on the legs to prove it. I've got no voice until about 3:55 p.m. today to show for it. And let me tell you, Can You Take Me Higher hasn't left my head in almost 24 hours. It's a good time. I will ask you, my friend, as I do every day. How you feeling? How you feeling, my friend?
I'm good. Can you take me higher? So glad you had a good time. I know we all were wondering it.
Yes.
I'm feeling good as well. We got a little east side versus west side thing going on today while I'm still here in the Berg and you're over on the eastern part of the state. But yeah, man, I'm feeling good. And I'm feeling ready to talk about those darn pesky Steelers again, brother.
For sure. It was a good time. I was telling you a little bit before we got on here, got rained out. And I don't know if it was the significant amount of alcohol that people were drinking. I don't know if it was the fact that it's Creed and it's just Creed, man. But thunderstorms ended the concert early, and as it was downpouring on everyone, you just had groups of people arms locked singing Creed songs, and it was almost a heavenly moment. It was almost I don't know if I got struck by lightning and this is what heaven is, but if it was, I was winning. So felt pretty good. Felt pretty good. Won't lie to you. Grateful for it. Thanks and shout out to everybody. And got a new hat, which is, gotta love a new hat. Gotta love a new hat. Let's start with good old TJ Watt, who we have talked plenty of, more than anybody this offseason, including Aaron Rodgers, who we spent months on the Aaron Rodgers train. And here we are talking TJ, waiting for TJ, still not knowing what's going to happen, but having an understanding and a hope, some expectation that it's going to work out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The last time TJ Watt posted on social media, it was him chucking up the deuces, saying, "I'm out, guys. See you later." And all the drama started. It was the beginning of what has turned into an absolute circus of tracing, tracking, and wondering what was going to happen or what is going to happen with TJ Watt. And then today, TJ, well, maybe gives us some sign of life. We're going to start with the news and note that I think is the biggest thing Pittsburgh Steelers fans are talking about right now, and that is TJ with Nick Herbig on Instagram in Wisconsin, just having a good time, training together. Two things stand out to me in this one here, Jacob. One, I think if you're working out with Nick Herbig, it is a clear sign that energy's high, expectations are still good. People are feeling good about where these things can go. Number two, TJ Watt and his offseason photos, man, are the most gigantic photos in the world, because I don't know if you could see this man's arm properly, but it is 3 times the size of my body. And it is Nick Herbig's a big dude, man. Mm-hmm. TJ Watt makes him look like a small child next to him in July. It's insane. Your thoughts on this when it arose? We had a little conversation in the chat, but that's about it. What were you thinking?
Well, I mean, yeah, I have to echo your sentiment here. That man is a gigantic human. It looks sort of like the varsity and JV captains got together for a photo, because I mean, Nick Herbig is, an explosive athlete. I would say is one of the most fit players on the Steelers, and he stands next to TJ Watt, and TJ Watt just sort of minimizes him. The other thing I really like about it is that it shows me that he's obviously, gearing up to immediately step in and be an impact player. If he wanted to, I think we would have all understood if TJ Watt wanted to take a longer off season. We've talked multiple times about sort of the family progression with him having his daughter here. So, we would have all kind of understood if that family time was a little bit more necessary than getting in those workouts. But I mean, my man looks ready to go. He looks like he's about to do some damage as soon as his contract negotiation mess gets wrapped up.
Yeah, I agree. TJ this does not strike me as a guy who's sitting around going, man, I don't know if I'm going to play football this year. He sits around and strikes me as a human being that looks just as terrifying as we expect him to. Once again, absolutely jacked. You know that you are scary big when your knuckles don't open all the way. You know what I mean? When you're standing there and you are almost full clinched just naturally, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And Herbig, man, definitely looking like he's added some size, which is good, but the smile on TJ's face tells me things are going to be okay, and things change drastically and quickly in the NFL, but I don't know, man. And this is in the comments, and I want to ask you because it pointed out to me too. Do you think NFL linebackers have small legs? Am I being too aggressive by saying that? Do you think NFL linebackers, these legs aren't crazy? They're not crazy. They're no Saquon Barkley legs here.
Oh,
and you're
no.
going up against some wildly big human beings.
Look, I didn't want to. I was not going to bring up anything, but that observation might have occurred in my mind. They kind of got some chicken legs. It's looking like a little tiny, especially when you look at, I mean, TJ Watt's arms are sort of like Larry the Lobster from SpongeBob SquarePants, where it's like he definitely can't even touch, or like Jorgen von Strangle from the Fairly Odd Parents, where he can't even touch his own face.
Yeah.
There's no those are gigantic, and I mean, yes, he could probably support the weight of a house with his lower body strength, but relative to how those biceps are looking in this photo, I can see how that comment might have been made. But by no means am I saying those dudes got small legs, because I might have to talk to one of them soon. So I don't want to disgrace their legs at all. I think they're very strong legs, the strongest. So yeah, I completely disagree, TJ and Nick. Love you guys.
The strongest. Shout out to TJ, looking absolutely ripped and terrifying, and giving us a little bit of a sign of life as we head into training camp. That I don't expect him to have a deal done beforehand, but I do expect the potential that he shows up. I'm not going to sit here and say that TJ is not showing up to day one of training camp. I don't know. There's something about it that strikes me and says maybe we'll get something a little bit different. On the other news and notes here, Mike Williams, former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver who played 8 games with them and did very minimal, but caught a touchdown in his first one, game-winning touchdown, ran the red line, called out through a jab at the guy who is now the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is Aaron Rodgers, announced his retirement today. Your farewell thoughts to the man who, I mean, look, we went a whole year almost of waiting to see who the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to trade for at wide receiver, who was going to end the drama that was Brandon Ayuk and potentially Juju, get rid of Deontay Johnson. Where is it going? Who's coming? Chased everybody, got Mike Williams. He retires this offseason suddenly. What's your message to him? What's your thoughts?
Noah, will you go ahead and play the top 5 clips of Mike Williams in a Steelers uniform package?
Yeah.
Oh wait, you don't have it?
Well, here, I'll play it right now. You ready?
Go ahead. Yep.
All right, that was it.
That was good. Oh, incredible. So
Thanks.
yeah, it was a great time. The ups and downs, the rides, the journey that was Mike Williams as a Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver. No, so I don't, nothing from that point of view. I wish him the best. It's, there's obviously some sort of like major health concern if he's retiring at age 30 or 31, whatever he is currently. So I do wish him the best. I hope he finds nothing but health, happiness, and comfort in his post NFL career. But as for missing him as a Steelers wide receiver, nope, pass.
Yeah, I agree. Well, nothing but the best. Shout out to Mike Williams, man. Hope he enjoys retirement. He looked happy to be back in LA. So, I didn't see him smile one time in Pittsburgh. I'm not joking.
He didn't seem happy.
Yeah, didn't see him smile one time. I actually remember getting the text when his video came out of him showing back up in LA of being like, wow, Mike Williams smiles. I didn't think that happened. So yeah, shout out to Mike. Hope he's doing well, and enjoy retirement. Enjoy retirement. Now let's talk some wide receivers here and the news and notes of the scary TJ Watt and the retired Mike Williams, and talk Juwan Jennings, 49ers wide receiver, and a name that we have tossed out here not once, not twice, but multiple times about potentially ending up in Pittsburgh and what it would cost and so on and so forth. The San Francisco 49ers have made it known that they are not looking to trade Juwan Jennings, but Juwan Jennings either wants a contract extension or he wants out of San Francisco. And until something gets done, you have no idea what the outcome of this is. If we're sitting around questioning the potential moving on of TJ Watt, then we can sit here and certainly question the potential moving on of a third wide receiver on a team that drafted a wide receiver in the first round last year after signing their other one, who the Steelers were chasing, to a massive contract. And then to follow it up and add a cherry on top, they've moved on from another wide receiver in Deebo Samuel this offseason as well. Juwan Jennings maybe isn't a guarantee to be moved from the San Francisco 49ers, but I certainly think it's on the table. And Bleacher Report tossed out a potential trade package for the Pittsburgh Steelers if they were to make a move for Juwan Jennings. Alex K of Bleacher Report said this, quote, Pittsburgh is flush with draft capital next year, having added a day 2 pick from the Dallas Cowboys to the coffers during the Pickens trade. That 2026 third rounder could be leveraged as part of a package that springs Jennings free from San Francisco, especially if the Steelers are willing to part with a replacement receiver in the deal, giving up the selection from Dallas and Calvin Austin III, a promising 2022 fourth rounder who has largely underwhelmed during his time with the Steelers and needs a change of scenery. Let me reiterate that one real fast. Wow. Should be enough to convince the Niners to move on if they refuse to extend Jennings. Let me say that one more time for those of you in the back who did not hear it. Needs a change of scenery. Calvin Austin does. That's what's holding him back, apparently, according to Alex K. There it is. There's the news we have all been waiting for. Breaking. The Pittsburgh Steelers and star edge rusher TJ Watt have agreed to a historic 3-year, $123 million contract extension with $108 million guaranteed. Give me your reaction as I message and make sure that we're getting the news covered.
That is a perfect deal for the Steelers. I think the 3 years of it is the ideal length and duration. He deserves every bit of the money. $108 million guaranteed. That is the most amount of money ever guaranteed in a contract in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. A round of applause for one Mr. TJ Watt as far as that is concerned. And I think, again, I know yesterday when we were talking about how far we would go, I was willing to do really anything to get this man under contract. And so for them to manage to get such a good deal done for 3 years, 3 years that TJ Watt is going to be elite, productive, the anchor of your defense, the leader of the back end, I think this is an excellent deal for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and finally relieves this incredibly draining but exciting summer of offseason topics for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Congratulations, TJ Watt. Heck of a deal. Noah, I want to give the floor back to you unless you are taking care of things real quick, but I would love to hear your immediate
keep it riffing, dude. I need at least 3 minutes.
Dude, you go ahead and go for it. Guys, let's talk about the fact that TJ Watt is undoubtedly better than Myles Garrett and still, once again, does not make more guaranteed money than him, but it's okay. It is a-okay. And you know why, folks? The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do better things with TJ Watt than the Cleveland Browns will do with Myles Garrett in 2025, in 2026, and in 2027. This is an excellent deal. This is an excellent deal for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think something that might be also very important to keep in mind, and this will come out while the contract details are fully revealed, is how much extra flexibility or lack thereof the Steelers have regarding salary cap space. One of the immediate thoughts I have after hearing this news is, did they manage to create more salary cap space like they did with the final details of Jalen Ramsey's contract coming in, or did they take up a good amount of that? And from whatever that answer is, however much space is left, I think will give us a very clear answer as to what they will do next. If there is a significant amount of space, I think a wide receiver trade would be the next thing that happens, and I would feel a little bit more certain that that is what's coming. If there is less salary cap space, I think I would be placing my bets on a safety coming in on a very small vet minimum contract.
Yeah, I agree. And I will say this in my thoughts on the entire situation here. $41 million a year for TJ Watt surpasses Myles Garrett. That is exactly what should happen. The Pittsburgh Steelers should surpass Myles Garrett. The $123 million total resets the market as the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL, which again I think is perfect. And the $108 million, I believe, is the 108 fully guaranteed, would come out to just under 3 years, which is exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers should have done. That is what this deal is. It is a spot on situation where you can look at it and say TJ Watt just got exactly what he should have gotten from the Pittsburgh Steelers, that the Pittsburgh Steelers should have given TJ no less than Myles Garrett. They should have surpassed Myles Garrett in this deal. TJ's worth it. TJ's earned every single penny. And that is, at the end of the day, the only thing the Steelers should have cared about. The fully guaranteed is where you come into a sticky situation of saying, well, if you're going to pay him for 4 years, what's going to be the contract? How much are you going to pay him? Look at 3 years, $123 million, which is perfect. You have him until he's just about 33 years old. At that moment, you can make a decision to keep TJ, to move on from TJ, to have TJ retire. I mean, there are a boatload of questions and a boatload of opportunity for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you didn't guarantee the whole thing, which tells you and me that there is a safety blanket that they do not expect to have to use, but are comfortable with being there. And TJ doesn't have to take a full risk on that last year. He could simply say, I'm still getting at least partially. They believe in me enough for me to have to prove it at 33 years old, which should be the case. I mean, it's spot on, man. This is the perfect contract for the Pittsburgh Steelers and for TJ Watt. You were a guy that wanted 5 years, 6. I mean, you would have guaranteed him for a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Are you comfortable with 3 years? 3 years, yes. We got to go through this again.
Yes, unbelievably comfortable. I think the less, look, I was willing to do whatever because I viewed and view TJ Watt to be a generational defensive player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So there was no issue in terms of that. But 3 years reduces the Steelers' risk by a ginormous factor, and to say that that is anything other than a good move for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I would be foolish to say. So yeah, I'm very, very comfortable with that, and I think the fact that they were able to simultaneously compensate him on a yearly salary base that's higher than Myles Garrett, I think you just the way that they were able to show TJ Watt how much he is valued within the organization around the NFL. And I know from a fan's perspective, or from anyone not within those locker rooms, what that means, or like the importance of that statement, carries no weight. But for the players and for them, that is their business. I think there is a big matter of pride here at hand. And TJ Watt is now recognized as the premier pass rusher in the NFL, as he should be. So yeah, and I'm very comfortable with it because it doesn't hamstring them in 5-6 years from now, which I would have been willing to do, sure, but this is a better business move. And this is 2 years in a row now, going back to the Cam Hayward extension as well, where they were able to get a very, very team-friendly deal done, whether it was the annual salary or the years of guaranteed money. So bravo to Omar Khan. 2 fantastic extensions done back-to-back summers here.
Yeah, I agree. That's a conversation we had a month ago, was you're going to extend or 2 weeks ago. You're going to extend Omar Khan. You're going to give him this contract before he gives a TJ Watt a contract. And what if it doesn't work out? And what if things go awry? And what if you have to move on from him? Omar Khan's deal today looks fantastic. Hindsight is always 2020. And the hindsight right now is telling you Omar Khan just struck another fantastic deal for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The guy continues to win and make moves that he should be making in ways that he should be making them. It keeps the team. This is what this contract does. And I don't know, there are a lot of questions about, hey, should the Steelers go out and how much cap space do they have left and what's the next move? We have no idea what the cap situation is yet. That won't be known for probably a couple of hours, if not 24 plus hours, when the final everything gets broken down and we see exactly what each year's cap hit is. Until then, it's a total guess, and I think I'd be doing some injustice by saying, I think it's like $22 million. I have no idea, but you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and this deal and you say, what TJ does for 3 years is sets you up to say in that 4th year, if you have contracts, if you have a quarterback that needs to be signed, if you have all of these star players that need new deals, you have the money to work with. And at 33 years old, maybe TJ Watt, and this is a maybe TJ Watt sits there and goes, you know what, dude, I'm cool. I'm super comfortable actually taking a team-friendly deal at 33 years old where I still make a boatload of money because they paid me last time, and in $123 million on top of what I believe was $120 million last time, I've made enough money in the NFL to feel pretty okay about where I am, where my family is. And now I want to try to win another ring or my first ring or whatever. And that's what the Steelers, once again, man, it is a win now and later situation for this team. And they are crushing it. Omar Khan is doing there were so many moves this offseason where you sat around and wondered what was going to happen. And then it turned out to be something great that the Steelers, and you can't believe that they just did it. And that is TJ Watt's deal here. It is a spitting image of what me and you would have sat down and wrote out and said, this is what they should do. This is what the contract should look like, to where there's give and take on both sides. It doesn't kill you long-term. It protects you long-term, and it saves you for right now, which I will ask. And this is a big what? This is a big prediction, but the biggest and the most important. TJ Watt just got handed $123 million by the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. The last time he did this, he broke the sack record. Do you look at TJ Watt right now with his big, giant, massive Nick Herbig arms in Wisconsin and say, this guy, and my expectations for him just went through the roof? What are your thoughts on what he can do this season? Because it's different talking about what if once you get the glaring negative and the glaring darkness of he doesn't have a deal yet. It's still concerning. You're talking about it right now, just happened a moment ago, to where you could look at it and say, this is the peak of excitement. What can he do in 2025?
One word, or perhaps one number for you. 23. That's what I expect out of TJ Watt.
23.
I want that man to get after that quarterback so often. I want him to have an incredible year. Like you hinted at, the last time we saw this happen, he gets the bag. That man went on the field and did nothing but perform for an entire season. And he broke the record. We all know it. But now he can further solidify, do it once again, and make it official in the record books. I expect him to have a gigantic 2025. And I think if that happens, whatever occurs beyond that is the cherry on top of the sundae. They have their best defensive player, the best edge rusher in football, locked up, ready to go in a prime year. And this man should wreak absolute havoc on the NFL. That's my expectation for TJ Watt in 2025.
I agree, my friend. Look, excitement cannot be higher than the moment it is right now. You cannot have higher expectations for the Pittsburgh Steelers or for TJ Watt. But I don't know if you have seen, and if you haven't, go to Instagram right now and go find TJ Watt's post because it's so badass and it gets you so fired up. And that's where we're at. The Pittsburgh Steelers.
He's so scary.
Scary
so
human being. The Pittsburgh Steelers right now made a move that you think the Super Bowl window is here and that the Steelers have done it. This is it, man. This is, if the Steelers don't make another move for the rest of the offseason, I think you can walk into the season and say, yeah, they got a shot. They got a shot. Would I put them over Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts? No. Would I say they got a shot? Yeah. And I think the momentum and the excitement around it is there, man, because TJ's a guy, and I've said this a number of times. I trust fewer people in the NFL to make it work and to figure it out after a bad season than TJ Watt. And I also look at fewer people in the NFL and say, if you're going to hand somebody a bag, it's going to be, there are maybe nobody in the league that's more of a positive of getting them to be better than TJ Watt. There are a lot of players where you pay them and they don't play to that amount of money. TJ Watt is a guy where you pay him and it's almost as if he looks at it and says, I haven't earned this paycheck yet. I have to earn it in the next 3 years. And that fires me the hell up, man. That fires me the hell up. Your last thoughts on TJ before we start diving and answering everybody's questions, because the news that we were going to talk Calvin Austin going for Juwan Jennings, and we'll talk about it tomorrow, which is nobody cares. You know what I mean? At this point, there's one thing to talk about, and that's TJ freaking Watt, man, getting the contract before training camp. And I'm going to be honest, Omar Khan, you want to know what he's done very well this offseason is hide it all. Because, I mean, I don't want to be the guy that says I'm locked in, but I'm locked in. I know what's going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I've told you guys so many times that I think TJ is going to sign with the Steelers, but I said it 20 minutes ago on the show that I don't think it's going to happen until after training camp starts. And here we are. We didn't think Jalen Ramsey was going to happen as quickly as it did or for what it did. We didn't think Minkah was actually on the trade block no matter what the rumbles were. We didn't think that DK Metcalf was going to happen as smooth and as quickly as it did. Like Aaron Rodgers did it to himself because he pushed it for 7 years. But the rest of it, man, Omar has just done it under the table, and it's awesome to watch it happen. It makes you feel good. It makes it feel less dramatic, even if it's super dramatic. I'm going to give you the floor here for one last time before we start answering questions. Your final thoughts.
What a deal. I'm pumped. My last statement, my last thought about this is it's time to see all of this elite play, record-breaking play culminate in the postseason. This is the year they're all in a very different way than it felt in 2024. And I think that starts in sort of outside of the offensive line's performance. It starts and ends with TJ Watt. So record-breaking paycheck, well-deserved. Let's see it happen in the playoffs as well and get the Steelers over the proverbial hump and back into Super Bowl contention.
I apologize.
So you muted me?
I said my final thoughts here before we start answering everybody's questions, so make sure you're tossing them in the chat, is that the Pittsburgh Steelers had us on a ride this offseason twice. The first one was chasing Aaron Rodgers, where we all sat around and talked about how Mason Rudolph isn't going to win the Steelers Super Bowl and it's over. And then you sign Aaron Rodgers, and all of a sudden you get a little bit of an excitement level going where you're going, maybe they got a shot. It might be there. And then we sat around thinking TJ's gone and things are bad and this thing is going to go south and the Super Bowl window shuts the second TJ leaves. And then he signs 6 days before training camp. And my thought is he's going to show up on day one of training camp and the Steelers are going to have no more distractions. This is a distraction-free training camp of you have your quarterback on the last year of his deal, which we talked to Warren Sharp yesterday, and he told us that him saying that Aaron's got a 1-year deal adds a little bit of magic to some things, and I think that I agree. You have a TJ Watt under contract where the deuce sign means nothing except for what the hell is up, Pittsburgh. I ain't going nowhere anytime soon. You got your wide receiver. You got rid of the noise in guys like George Pickens and Najee Harris. And I don't think the Steelers, while I do think there are more moves to be made, can be any more prepared than they are right now to go into this and make some actual noise and prepare themselves for the 2025 season. So my final thought is simple. I applaud Omar Khan. This dude has put on one hell of a show this offseason, and maybe it doesn't work out. Only time will tell. But if you're not fired up right now, if you don't have that 90 jersey on right now, sitting here, if you don't have a big smile on your face trying to leave work in 25 minutes, super fired up to you already got the phone call to your buddies, the text messages, your dads, your grandpas, your uncles, it doesn't matter. You are already running through that conversation in your head, man. It's a good day to be Pittsburgh Steelers fans. So that's my final thoughts here. The Steelers, they closed the door. They said, we did it all. This is our to-do list. Crossed it off and said, let's go play some football. Let's get to Latrobe. And man, that's a good feeling. It's a good feeling for sure. With that said, let's start answering everybody's questions. We're going to take a quick break so I could chug a glass of water on the other side of it. We're going to dive into them. Toss them in the chat. We'll be right back.
Pittsburgh, this one's for you. From the voices behind all Steelers talk comes Black and Gold apparel, your go-to for bold, fan-driven merch that reps the city, the Steelers, and everything in between. Whether you bleed black and gold or just love that Pittsburgh grit, we've got something for you. It's more than a podcast. It's a community. And thanks to your support, we're proud to bring the passion from our mics to your closets. Gear up, stand out, and show the world what real fans look like. Shop now at blackandgoldapparel.myshopify.com.
Man, in 36 seconds, I don't think I've lessened my fired up. Let's go with that one. We're gonna jump into them. Shout out to our members. Shout out to our super chatters. Man, signing on a Thursday before the week. I'm going to have dinner with my grandmother and my family tonight, and
oh, beautiful.
That's what I'm saying. Is like that steak is gonna taste so much better after this one. It's gonna taste like the Pittsburgh Steelers' best player just signed a $123 million deal.
That's gonna taste like $100 million is what that steak's gonna taste like.
I think TJ Watt's the only person that I know who could know what $100 million steak tastes like.
That's true.
But it's gonna taste like he did just earn $123 million. And I'm sorry, but I don't care if you say it's a bad move. I think it's a fantastic move. Jacob would have ran through a freaking wall to get this deal done, and
Kool-Aid Man style.
For sure.
Oh,
For
yeah.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Cody Silva started off. All hail TJ Watt retiring a Pittsburgh Steeler. You think this is the last contract of TJ Watt's career? You think he's got one more in him?
I think he could have one more in him. I think this... I'm going to say 75% chance this is his final NFL contract. I did see something over the break that Joe Rutter sorry if I mispronounced that, reported as a 4-year deal.
Is it 4-year technically?
4-year with the yeah. But so like hypothetically, he plays his way through the entirety of it. I could see that being the final 4 years of his career. But no, I think there's also a good chance he signs like a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal after this. And so he plays into like years 35 or 34 and 35 or something like that. What do you think about that?
No, I mean, I sit the same way. JJ Watt retired at 34 years old. He'll be 33, pushing 34 when this is all said and done. I think that's a possibility that TJ Watt at that time, especially it depends on what the Steelers do over the next couple of years, but you walk away with a ring, man. And I'm not saying they're going to win one. I'm not putting my money on them winning one. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to say they won't. And you win a ring in that time, it's hard to say I haven't done it all, Yeah,
it's just the best. Like, I just don't. Everyone can have their opinions about whether this is a good idea or not, or a bad move. And I get that. But, like, you just simply cannot win unless you just, like, make an earnest effort to have the best team possible. And
Yeah.
there's no like TJ Watt is a huge piece of that. Like the
Yes.
Cleveland Browns have won one playoff game since I was born.
Yeah, to the Pittsburgh Steelers, actually.
Exactly. Yeah. But they paid Myles Garrett all this money. So like you can say the same, like can't win in the playoffs, can't even get to the playoffs, you know?
Yeah.
Or you look at all these other elite defensive players have how many more playoff wins than TJ Watt? Everyone's doing the same thing. Only one team can win. You have to go for it. This is how you go for it. This is a great deal. I think he's retiring a Steeler either way to finish cap off the Cody Silva statement there.
Yeah, for without question, retiring a Pittsburgh Steeler. We are going to get to all the questions and all the super chats and everything. I'm going to go TJ, and then we'll go into to the rest of them here. Chris, guys, I'm happy to see the new 3-year deal for Watt. What does it mean for our salary cap, and will we lose players due to this deal the next 3 years? I don't think you'll lose anybody. I don't think it affects the salary cap in a very negative way. The Steelers have salary cap space to spend this offseason and next offseason. They were over $100 million or something in available cap space. So they'll be fine in cap space. I don't think you're losing anybody because of it. You don't have a quarterback contract, so you have wiggle room to work with. I don't know the exact numbers of what it means for the cap situation this year. And I'm sure it's going to emerge rather quickly, but as this broke, we were talking about Juwan Jennings from the San Francisco 49ers to the Pittsburgh Steelers for Calvin Austin. So I haven't had time to dive into the numbers. Tomorrow morning, obviously, we'll have more. But I don't think, unless you feel differently, I just don't think long-term this is going to impact the Steelers and who they can and cannot bring into the organization.
No, not at all. I think just with the salary cap rising over the next few years, it won't be too bad. And I think the way that we have been discussing how there is a lack of a franchise quarterback, that is the only other major salary cap hit that you are anticipating happening to your team. And so if that's the case and there's just TJ Watt taking up a massive salary cap hit and you're able to sort of disperse everyone else's and creatively construct it into, prorated into signing bonuses and extended into other roster bonuses and things like that. And the Steelers have very much mastered, how to manipulate and maneuver around the cap and to make contracts work in their favor. So I don't see this being something that gets in the way of them going out in free agency, in the next couple off seasons to get somebody. I don't think it's going to prohibit them from re-signing anyone else. Like if Joey Porter Jr. has a standout season and an extension starts getting worked on, they will have the salary cap space to do that. And whenever they have a franchise quarterback, whatever, list goes on and on. I don't think this is going to be a huge issue for the Steelers.
No, I don't either. I think it'll be just fine. Omar knows what the hell he's doing. You know what I mean? This guy has failed to let any of us down yet. And has honestly ruined my expectations a number of times where I've sat here and kind of talked smack on Omar Khan and said things that I just don't think he was doing a great job. And then he does this. And I go, yeah, never mind. I lied. Omar Khan is still Omar Khan. So yeah, I don't see it being much of an issue. Hopefully by tomorrow morning, we have full breakdown of the contract and everything that comes with it so that we could dive into the salary cap situation. Smootest Buddhist came as soon as I heard the news, and this is why we love Omar Khan, man. Shout out to Omar Khan. Shout out to TJ Watt, ham sandwich, and TJ we trust. Chris keeps it trucking here with I hope Myles Garrett is pissed about oh man, and then it just keeps going and going and going. Will what's your thoughts on what's your grade on Omar Khan this offseason?
Has to be an A. I don't, I am blinded by the light of the TJ Watt contract right now, so perhaps I am a little biased in my assessment. But yeah, I mean, between bringing in Aaron Rodgers on a very friendly deal, between acquiring Jonnu Smith, acquiring Jalen Ramsey, and now getting TJ Watt locked up, pretty masterful summer for the con artist. I would give it an A.
Yeah, I agree. Like Omar Omar crushed it this offseason. Crushed. I thought the NFL draft was fantastic. The DK trade is like the only piece of it where you're going, there's some risk there that I don't know if I am all in on. I don't know if I would have rushed the gun on the DK Metcalf thing and traded George without having a replacement. I would have traded George. I think George's drama is not worth it, but I think the rest of it questions. Aaron, cheap, worth the wait. The NFL draft crushed it, absolutely crushed it. And then Minka for Jalen and Jonnu, you won that one. I mean, I came home yesterday. My dad, the first thing out of his mouth to me was, "Yeah, Steelers definitely won that one." I was like, "Yeah, is like that the consensus around the NFL?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's like I talked to a few people who don't think that Steelers won that trade." And I was like, "All right, that's good to know." And then to finish it off with this one is just. It's crazy. It's crazy what he's done this offseason and what the Steelers have done this offseason and where they can be headed because of it. Shout out, shout out, shout out. Chris, TJ is the perfect player to give a big deal to. He will always give 109%. He is great with fans as a team representative, and he fits the culture 100%. And ham sandwich here. Now that TJ is signed, when do the Steelers sign a safety? Are you thinking it's coming quick now? Because that's the thing is TJ was it wasn't the holdup, but if TJ happens now, it just kind of shows the urgency of what the Steelers are, where the Steelers are, and how, we looked at this going, the Steelers might not even have TJ Watt until right before the season. Mm-hmm. I took this as a sign of the Steelers wanted to have their roster ready to go for training camp. That's how I took it.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair interpretation. I would imagine a safety signing happens quickly, especially, in like I truly did see, not from a financial perspective, but I think you and I both saw this TJ Watt domino as being the one that needed to fall before any other pieces would fill in. Now that that's happened, I think that they have a week here, or 6 days or whatever, before they have to report. They can get Justin Simmons on the horn and be like, all right, we can lock it in. We're getting this whole squad going. We're going to roll into St. Vincent's and just bring it in. So yeah, I think I would expect to see a safety pretty quickly. And if we don't see one brought in before training camp opens next week, I won't anticipate seeing one for a while, to be quite honest.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I think it kind of, there's two. So while I want to say yes, I think it's much more complicated than just saying yes, because I think there are factors here. Like, oh, maybe the Steelers don't sign somebody, but maybe Justin Simmons and the negotiations there aren't as quick as they want it to be. Maybe it's not the Steelers side of things. Maybe it's the player side of things where it's holding some stuff up, and that's the delay. But I do agree that I think it's quick. Like the Steelers have shown their hand here that they want these things done, that this isn't like slow Steelers. The Steelers used to be the poking the guy with the stick meme saying, please do something, because they weren't doing anything. Now it's the Steelers just do things and do things and do things and do things. And I think that this is another example of like the Steelers have a sense of urgency, and I could see, like you just said, that being done rather quickly instead of slow rolling as if it typically does with the Pittsburgh Steelers for sure.
Yeah, and by a while, I mean, like, I guess I should have been more specific in that I wouldn't expect to see one brought in until like a couple of weeks into training camp or like during the preseason, because they would, if they're not going to be able to get in a Justin Simmons, a Jordan Whitehead, a Julian Blackmon by next week, they're probably just going to say, well, F it, let's just see what Sebastian Castro can do. Let's just see what these guys can do for a little bit. And when it inevitably goes terribly in, week one of the preseason, they can just be like, you know what, actually, let's call Julian again, or let's call Justin one more time, see if he's free. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty quick thing.
I agree. Keeping it trucking here. Thomas, let's go. TJ is paid. Did you see the Jalen Ramsey contract details? Yeah, I think you wrote that story for us, so you would have a better understanding than I believe. The cap hit was is like $5 million, right? This season?
The cap charge ended up being like $5 million, but he is going to make about $26 million.
Good for him.
in total cash. The Dolphins took on. There was things like the roster bonus the Dolphins took on. There was another option clause incentive something or other that the Dolphins picked up as well. So they're paying him $7 million for the upcoming season, and the Steelers are going to pay him 19. So there's a lot of money going to Jalen Ramsey, and it somehow ended up netting the Steelers salary cap space.
Yeah. Which is another prime example of, dude, it goes back. The first time I realized Omar Khan was the best person that the Steelers could have hired for their GM job was when they traded for Allen Robinson and paid like $1 million for him. And I was like, that shouldn't be the case. Like, you just got handed Allen Robinson for free, and Allen Robinson wasn't good, but he wasn't worth free. And that's pretty crazy to be able to pull these things off. The Steelers winning the Jalen trade continues to happen, I think, at least in my opinion. Keeping it going here. Christian, TJ Watt deserves a Super Bowl. Pittsburgh Steelers need a quarterback. I hope Will Howard is the answer. Here we go. Steelers, where do you rank the Steelers? So this is a big question, but where do you rank the Steelers in terms of AFC guys that you could see in the Super Bowl? Where do they sit? And this might be too big to toss at you, but
no,
I think I'm going to do it anyways.
No, that's fine. It's a big question, but I mean, to be quite honest, I think they still remain underneath the top two for sure. And, forgive me for sort of stumbling my way through this question, but, it's hard to think of anyone joining the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs right now, still in the preseason training camps opening. They feel like the absolute juggernauts of the AFC North still. So I think they are still 1-2. Baltimore is going to be a hard 3. And then I would have a big toss up after that. I think you have teams like Denver, Houston, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh who can all surprise in one way or another. So I think I would have them in the top 5 of AFC conference contenders right now. But I think there's room to go even further. Certainly room to go even further.
Yeah. I would say they're behind. Kansas City starts it. Buffalo is number 2. Baltimore is number 3. And then to me, it's a pretty open book that I think the Steelers could sit in. Like, I think that they could have an opportunity to be better than Houston, better than Denver, better than LA, better than Miami. I don't think Miami's good. Better than any of the rising guys that come out. Like, maybe Jacksonville ends up being okay. Maybe New England ends up being okay. Maybe Vegas ends up being okay. I think they sit above Cincinnati. They sit above Cincinnati, and I would put them right there. They're, in my head, they're the 4th scariest team in the AFC, like the 4th team to get a shot. And anything could happen if you're top 4. And I like the way it goes. Lucy, let's just say that the Steelers signed Justin Fields. Do you think that they would have made the same offseason moves? Go TJ. Oh, man. Yes, I think the answer is yes.
Do you think it's still this? Man, I have a hard time. If they signed Justin Fields, I have a really hard time believing that they would have actually gone out and acquired DK Metcalf, because who's going to throw him the ball?
Who's going to throw him the ball?
Like, sure, that he would try.
He would have tried. I don't think Justin was as good as Aaron. I don't think that. But I do think that if I think that they would have signed Justin with the outlook of, we got to see if this dude's something special. You weren't bringing Justin in to be Mason. You weren't bringing Justin in to be Mitch Trubisky. You were bringing Justin back to say, maybe Justin Fields actually is a stud. Maybe there's something. He's 25 years old, 26 years old. Former first-round pick, played okay for us when he was there. I think if you brought him back, you would have looked at it and said, we got to do what we got to do to make this happen. And on top of that, man, they traded for DK Metcalf with Mason Rudolph throwing on the football. So, it was while they expected Aaron, there's no guarantee it was going to be Aaron. And it could have ended up being Mason Rudolph throwing the football to DK Metcalf. So,
Yeah, no, you're fair, fine, whatever. But no, my real pushback on that is like there was just nothing about Justin Fields during the 2024 season that made me think he could be a stud passer. There was still the potential for him, and there still is the potential for him to be a stud quarterback. I just never think he's going to be a quarterback who can really find his number one target and stick on him. And so I'm not so sold on the fact that the Steelers would have been convinced of what you were suggesting either if they had stuck with Justin Fields. I think Jonnu Smith would absolutely still be part of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I feel like that is still more than anything an Arthur Smith fit and an offensive scheme thing for Arthur Smith's offense. But yeah, I just don't see them having as much faith, even though the reality is true that Mason Rudolph was the starting quarterback when the Steelers acquired DK Metcalf. I feel like we both know that, they knew Mason Rudolph was not going to be the starter for DK Metcalf. And I think that does make a difference.
I agree. Sticking here. We know TJ's priority is a ring here, but do you think that the all-time sack record is a legit goal of his? Can you look up what the sack record is? Because he's got to be close. He's definitely got to be close. And while we're at it, we'll get a nice reaction. Smith. It is Bruce Smith. Enigma After Dark with a bold prediction. Watt will win NFL MVP. I would put, to be honest with you, it's going to be higher right now than it was 24 hours ago, and it'll settle back in. But I would, and if you caught me, if this happened last night, man, there's 110% chance that this would have happened because I'm a degenerate. But I would have, in the middle of with arms wide open, I'd be putting my entire paycheck on TJ Watt to win Defensive Player of the Year. The entire paycheck I would have put on it. So shout out Enigma After Dark.
Fair. Bruce Smith has a career high of 200 sacks. TJ Watt has a 108.
That's
so he's
insane.
92 off the all-time NFL record.
92. He's got 4 years left on his deal. He's got to have to break the record every year.
He's going to have to be real spectacular in those years. Yeah.
4 years of breaking the NFL sack record consistently would be a feat, my friend. Would be. Yeah. And that's just to tie. So that's pretty insane.
There's an impressive list he'd have to overcome.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Maybe Terrell Suggs is a better target, 139 career sacks.
Oh, I think he's got that.
I think he'll crush that. I think he can maybe even get up into the top 5, which would be Chris Dolman, Julius Peppers, Kevin Green, Reggie White, and Bruce Smith.
Yeah.
And he would need at least 151 sacks to get into the top 5 all time.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Capri Salad here. Another banging name. Great name. The Salad Clan, man, is pretty crazy. It's pretty insane, actually. The Capri Salad is also like, now I want a Capri Salad. A Caprese salad. All Steelers Talk t-shirt. TJ with 123%. Did I say 120? Is that a me quote?
Maybe the $sign is what that should be, or is
no, 123% because it's $123 million. Is
that what that is?
That's what his contract is. Yes, now I get it. Look at this one. You got to think about it, and that's what I love about it. Yeah, fantastic, man, fantastic. That's immediately what I'm doing. Like, I will be actually sitting at dinner with my laptop, steak in front of me, laptop to the right. Brother probably pushed out of the way a little bit to make room for the laptop because screw off. I actually think he's sitting on the front porch because I told him he's not allowed to come in until I'm done. And we'll be working on everything surrounding what just happened. So shout out, my guy. Shout out. Tortellini Salad gifted an All Steelers Talk membership. Can't thank you enough, my friend. Carl Spackler, member for 5 months. Important question with TJ Watt signing. Are we now drama-free for the first time in a while? The Steelers are drama-free heading into training camp, and that is nuts, actually. Like, that's pretty crazy, right? Unless you're thinking of something different.
I'm shaking my head because it won't last long. It's gonna just be maybe a week here that we have no drama. But Carl, I guarantee you, buddy, we gonna find some next week. If not tomorrow, maybe even later today. We always find some.
Yeah.
So I would expect more to come very soon. But for today, there is just peace in Steelers Nation.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Keeping it going through these. Big Al here. What would you guys give up for Josh Downs and AD Mitchell if we could get one of them, or Romeo Dobbs, and then sign Simmons? Out of 10, how would you rate it? I mean, I give it a 10 if you could get Josh Dobbs and Justin Simmons. That'd be insane, actually. I don't think Josh Dobbs or Downs is on the market. I mean, he's just too good. Indianapolis would be so dumb to get rid of him. AD Mitchell's a second-year guy. I have a hard time believing that they'd give up him as well. Romeo Dobbs, for sure. I'd give up a second-round pick for Josh Downs. I'd give up a fourth-round pick for AD Mitchell, I think. I don't think I'd give up much more than that. Like, an unproven guy, a lot of upside, but, like, who cares? A lot of guys with upside don't make it work. I'd go Josh Downs. I'd give up a second-round pick. That guy's a freak of nature, man. He is so good. Yeah. And Justin Simmons, I mean, I'd give it a 10. You could pull off Josh Downs and Justin Simmons, which won't happen. I'd give it a 10.
Yeah, for sure. Give me Romeo Dobbs. Give me Justin Simmons. That's a 10 out of 10. Give me just Justin Simmons. 8.5. Actually, you know what? 8.8 out of 10. Omar Khan's just killed it one way or the other, and this would just be another sweet little bonus with an addition of a safety and another wide receiver.
Yeah. Tortellini salad here. Hope everyone watching is doing good. What are your thoughts on Von Miller joining the Commanders? My dad's a massive Broncos fan. I've mentioned that so many times on this show. I grew up a Von Miller fan just because I thought that dude was a stud. And to be honest with you, what hooked me is he cried at the draft, and it was the first time I ever saw a player cry at the draft. And I said, that guy's awesome. So, I mean, I think it's a great move, and I think it set the stage beautifully to start the morning with one linebacker move and then say, TJ Watt just got $123 million. So Steelers are still winning. So shout out to Von Miller, worth every penny. We'll see what happens, but I do like the move.
Commanders feel like an easy team to root for as someone who, covers the Steelers and not any NFC East team. But I mean, Jaden Daniels is just like a monster. And so it's easy to see how bringing in a veteran like Von Miller is sort of just like an extra sort of incentive to the entire locker room to like sort of take the next step. And here's someone who's won a Super Bowl and can sort of be a supporting piece in all of that. So hopefully he's able to be impactful and effective in this later part of his career. 129.5 career sacks for Mr. Von Miller. While I have that sack information still
That's
up,
crazy.
He is 16th all time.
That's
so
crazy.
Let's see how far he gets up this season. Probably about 2 more, we my guess.
Yeah, that's probably 2 more. Shout out to Von Miller. Chris here. Guys, Roman Wilson was a 3rd-round pick and doesn't seem to be able to surpass Austin. Is Austin failing to meet expectations for what he was or is he meant to say Wilson? Is Wilson failing to meet expectations for where he was selected? No, he was injured all season last season, so you can't even count it. I don't think there could be any judgment on who Roman Wilson is as a player yet, and I think anybody who is judging Roman Wilson as a player right now is going to most likely be wrong one way or another. Like if you're sitting around going, he's the next coming of Christ and he's the next AB, I think you're jumping the gun there and you're getting way too aggressive. I think if you're saying he's a bust, you haven't even seen him play football. So I don't understand how anybody could say that. I just think that I view Roman Wilson as a guy who's walking into the league as a rookie, a second-year rookie, but but didn't have a rookie season. So he's a rookie, and we have no idea what's to come for Roman Wilson. So that's kind of how I feel.
For sure. And I think honestly, Calvin Austin is a nice mold for Roman Wilson to follow. Calvin Austin lost the entirety of his rookie year due to injury, came back, worked his way up from, bottom of the depth chart. And now he's in line to be the, most likely the third when another move happens. But for now, the second wide receiver on the depth chart after, increasing his receiving yardage consecutively over the past couple of seasons. So I think Roman Wilson now has the chance to completely reset, turn the page on last season, come in and just sort of prove himself, work from the bottom up and see what he can do. So I'm not giving up on him yet. It's, he hasn't met expectations, certainly, but there was circumstances beyond his control that contributed to that, not just him being a bum of a football player. So I'm excited to see what he brings to training camp in the 2025 season.
Nate here. What do you think about Jordan Whitehead? I like Jordan Whitehead as a number 3. My only issue with the Jordan Whitehead is that there are, Juan Thornhill, I think, is a question mark on whether or not he's an every down safety and whether or not he should be a backup. So if you think Juan Thornhill is a starter, I like Jordan Whitehead. If you don't think he's a starter, then I think you got to go a little bit bigger than Jordan Whitehead. I think he brings good talent. I'm just not totally sold that, and I think it's a good addition. If that's what you're going to do, I'm totally fine with it, but I don't think it's the best option available for the Steelers. I would say that's Justin Simmons or Julian Blackmon.
Yeah, and I do just think either way, like the expectation can't be, oh, this is a 1-for-1 Minkah Fitzpatrick replacement. Like I'd be fine if we brought in Jordan Whitehead. I would be fine if Julian Blackmon came in. I would be fine if Justin Simmons is a starting safety. All three would be fine, serviceable replacement level players.
Mm-hmm.
How comfortable are you with that? I think is the question, one way or the other. It's not, can we get by or anything like that. Is can you actually trust one of these guys to be a 17 game, starter? And either way, you're taking a risk.
Either way, I agree. It's Juju. What college quarterback do you want to be our guy? Lenore Sellers is my guy. I mean, I think he's been your guy. I just think that he's got so much upside. But I think Gus Newsomer is a fantastic quarterback and got a lot of potential. And I think if Arch Manning hits the draft, it's hard not to be a believer in Arch Manning. But Lenore Sellers is my go-to.
100%. I will just keep on choo on the Lenore Sellers train. I think he is a spectacular college quarterback prospect. And so I am just intrigued to see if that continues, if that trajectory continues on and keeps moving forward once the college football season begins. And then if that drops off, I will find another bandwagon on which to jump upon.
Yeah, for sure. Got one here from Big Al, but I think he tossed to rate the whole offseason. Got it. I meant to rate the whole offseason. And this goes back to Josh Downs and Justin Simmons with this question. What would you rank that? If they pulled that off, what would you rate the whole offseason? I'd still give it a 10, man. I'd still give it what would you rate it right now? 1 out of 10. What do you rate in the Steelers offseason?
9.3.
Yeah, right. It's like definitely above a 9. It's definitely above a 9. I think they've
in the league
for what they were given. If you went and traded for Jalen Hurts, okay, could have been a 10. But for what they were given, for the circumstances they were put in, and some of them they put themselves in, but I think that you've given yourself minimal risk. And few massive holes and the potential to fill those holes. And it's still early enough that I think you could. So yeah. 9.3 is a good number. Cody Silva. As much as I want a wide receiver, trade Khan a wide receiver trade. Omar Khan is such a patient GM. He will wait to see who gets cut before wasting a draft pick on something he can get for free. That's exactly it. It doesn't make any sense for the Steelers to make a move today and we've preached that because you don't know who's going to get cut. You don't know who's going to get hurt. You don't know what's going to change. If I'm the Steelers, I'm waiting quite a while for a wide receiver.
Yeah, I think that is the test every general manager in the NFL is kind of going through right now. Is there are so many talented wide receivers, a lot of them in not the best situations, not being given the best opportunities to succeed despite the talent. And I think every GM who is a little bit wide receiver needy is just praying, and crossing their fingers that no one else makes a trade offer in the meantime, and everyone sweats these GMs out, and then they have to release these players to Cody Silva's point so you can try and get somebody on the cheap. But yeah, I think one way or another, a wide receiver trade is becoming more and more secondary or even tertiary at this point.
Yeah. Justin's out here. I'm not gonna say it because we're a family friendly show here. All right. But I didn't know what the comment was. I just saw you start to laugh and I went, somebody's making fun of me. And then I saw this and I was like, oh, this is way better than somebody making fun of me. So shout out to Justin, man. Shout out to Justin. He's got another one here. Noah, you were there when Mike T gave us the never say never, but never. Seemed like he felt disrespected and pissed off. What was the room like? Who asked? I don't remember who asked the question. Most pissed off I've ever seen Mike Tomlin. And then I'll explain it a little bit deeper. But the most I've ever seen Mike Tomlin pissed off is, and maybe this was it, but I don't think it was the USC blank booster check. That's the most I've ever seen Mike Tomlin pissed off. Tim Benz asked the question. He had to ask the question. Like we knew collectively somebody had to ask the question that day. And same with the never say never. Like most times you go into this going, all right, like who's going to, you kind of wait for it. You wait for it to be over. And then you go, all right, I'm going to ask the dumb question that has to be asked because everybody on ESPN's talking about it. That was the most I've ever seen him pissed off. And what's hilarious is that like Mike likes us and he understands it's a business and it's a game. So, I mean, he hates us, but like, he also like outside of work, he doesn't mind us. So some of us, so, it was after the blank booster check. It was like, I think he was like, did you expect me to say anything different there, guys? Did you think anything else was coming? And we were like, no, Mike, this is just what had to happen. And he just knew, and then he walked away. And I was like, man, we just ruined that guy's whole day. I felt terrible, but it's all right. We had a Grey Goose on the rocks and talked about it later that offseason, and everything was fine. So shout out. Mike T, the guy here. Chris, guys, can you list your top 5 picks for franchise quarterbacks next year? I think you both like the athletic kid from South Carolina at number 1, but what are your next 4? I got 4.
Go for it.
Lenore, go for it. Arch Manning is number 1 to me. Lenore Sellers is number 2. And we don't know who's going to come out, but this is just a guess. Number 3 is Newsome, whatever, from LSU. Number 4 is Drew Aller. And then number 5 is probably Cade Klubnik. Those would be my 5. I think the back half isn't as good as the front half, but those would be my 5.
Yeah, I think there's like dude from Oklahoma, Mater, has a chance to get it to move up and be a little bit more impressive. I think dude with the NIL issue with Tennessee or whatever,
Nico Ema, something
like he's just got, we talk so much about, it's not about, what you do in college. It's about having the tools and traits to be an NFL quarterback. And boy, does he have it. Who else? Let me look at my little list here. But yeah, besides that, I think Aller, Klubnik, Nussmeier, Arch Manning are the other 4 that will be, probably going in the top 15 of the draft next year, if all 4 come out. So yeah, or all 5 rather. So yeah, it's a fun class. It's even, I know I've said this a bunch of times, but I'm so excited for the college football season because of the quarterback class.
Yes.
It should just be a really entertaining season.
Yeah, I agree. Egyptian Egyptian Cobb salad. What?
Whoa.
Wow, dude. Shout out. Punched a hole in the wall accidentally. Wife is pissed. Don't care, man. Steelers going to be scary this season. All hail TJ Watt. That stinks for the wall, but I hear you. We've all been there. We've, you know what I mean? We've all had that moment of like, oh yeah, turn. And I could just see you. I could kind of picture you just being like, hell yeah. And then right through the wall. Like it was just blacked out for a second. I hear you. Wife will, she'll be okay. You'll go catch a couple of bad guys and everything will be fine. All hail good old TJ Watt. Lucy.
That's how we lost a security deposit on our senior trip in high school. Started punching walls out of excitement.
Happens all the time, man. Happens all the time. I don't think I've had an apartment as an adult where I haven't had to patch up some holes in the wall before I left, and I just leave them all for the last day. You know what I mean? Something about some scalpel that just makes you feel like you're putting in the work that day. That's how I feel. Shout out to Lucy there. As we keep it trucking, tortellini salad. Lots of wide receiver free agents next year. Who would you rather be on the Steelers roster come next year? Christian Kirk, Jacoby Myers, or Terry McLaurin? I mean, McLaurin's the easy answer, I think. So between the other two, Christian Kirk, Jacoby Myers, who would you pick second?
I've always been a fan of Jacoby Myers. I don't know if this is actually based on 2024 statistics off the top of my head. I can't recall who had a better year. But I was jockeying for the Steelers to go out and get Jacoby Myers last year to be a complimentary piece. And I can see myself being very for it again this year, next year. I think he's just like a solid number 2 wide receiver. So I think I would prefer Myers.
Yeah, I would go Myers as well. I'm a big Jacoby Myers guy. I think he's underrated. I don't think he's ever really had the best quarterback situation throughout most of his career, actually. So I'm a Jacoby guy. I like Christian Kirk. I just think he's a one-trick pony. And I also think he's a little bit overhyped. I think people look at him and say, you're a definite number 2. And I'm like, is he though? If Calvin Austin has 800 yards this year, is he not just Christian Kirk? Aren't they the same guy? So I would go Jacoby Myers. Chris here. I still think swing tackle and O-line is the most pressing issue for us. Are there no Pitt linemen who have graduated and could fill some holes for us? No. The University of Pittsburgh had two guys go in the draft this year, I think. But the Steelers, I don't think they're going to add an offensive lineman for the rest of the offseason unless something drastically changes. They're going to give Calvin Anderson the opportunity to be the swing tackle. They're going to give him a pretty big lead in that competition, and then they'll go from there. But I do not think that is on the horizon for the Pittsburgh Steelers, unfortunately. Broderick Wallace. Is AST becoming all salad talk? What a comment. That might be the t-shirt that's on the way. That might be it for sure. And then I want to finish it off with a hopefully a brighter note that isn't so bright of a compliment, but of a comment, but I got to make sure that we highlight our boy Whataburger here. Lost my pops last week, so just catching back up. Had no idea how bad I needed to hear Noah dropping F-bombs, man. A much needed smile. Thank you. Also, got to add Pinky in the Brain, Ren and Stimpy to the tunes list. First off, Whataburger, we want to give you our thoughts and our love, brother. We hope that you are doing well. We are here for you, as sure, and I will drop an F-bomb anytime you need it, my man. That is what I am here to do. At the Creed concert, after a couple of Mick Ultras, I started asking pretty much. I texted Jacob at one point. I started asking pretty much everybody I spoke to what their favorite cartoons were growing up as a child. And the best answer I got that we did not toss out here was Codename Kids Next Door, because that I can't believe that one slipped the mind, but that one was there. Second best one, I think, which I got some good ones that we didn't like. The Magic School Bus. I know, dude. The one with the dragons. I think it's Imagine. I don't think it's Imagine Dragons. That's the band.
That's a band.
Yeah, but it's the one with the dragons. You know, the Magic Dragons or whatever. I could picture them, but I can't. And then the other one that I got last night that I was pretty fired up about, Recess. Totally forgot about Recess, sir. Man. Yeah.
Dragon Tales.
Dragon Tales. That's what it was, dude. That was bothering me for 24 hours almost of me just sitting here going, I'm pretty sure it's Imagine Dragons, and that Imagine Dragons stole the name. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Pretty sure that's what happened. All right, and we'll finish it off with this one. This news made my day. Finally, I can ask my wife for a TJ Watt jersey for my birthday this year. I think everybody feels the same. The Pittsburgh Steelers, my friend, they got him. They signed him, and they finished it off with a bang. 6 days before training camp. The Pittsburgh Steelers, in an episode, in a day where me and you sat here and went, I guess we'll talk about Mike Williams retiring. That sounds awesome. Turned into the biggest news of the offseason. The Pittsburgh Steelers have signed TJ Watt. And man, what a joyous time to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. With that, we're heading out here. Thank you guys so much for jumping on to a very exciting news day here at All Steelers Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Check us out anywhere you get your podcasts. And as always, find all of our work at si.com/NFL/Steelers. We're going to be back tomorrow morning, hopefully with full contract breakdown of the TJ Watt deal, so we could dive into what comes next, where the Pittsburgh Steelers stand in terms of salary cap space, what it means long term, and what it means short term for this organization and their roster. But until then, man, it is a good one. And I don't care if it's rain, sleet, or shine where you are. Enjoy it. Enjoy another and a big one. Beautiful day in the Berg. Peace.